And welcome, everyone. You are tuning in to House of Spiritual Vibes Radio here on Zoom, joining us live here on YouTube. So today's show, we are going to be discussing, the occult in combination with serial killer stories, and we're going to be discussing our theories on what type of connection these serial killers may have had within the spiritual world, and just our thoughts and our opinions. There's going to be a lot of disclaimers, so we are going to start out by disclaimer number one. Most of the serial killers we're going to be talking about here today are no longer in the physical world. So that being said, when we talk about spirits, we definitely want to protect ourselves. So we encourage anybody who is listening in, who is tuning in here today, that you guys use your discretion, put some cascarilla and get your Florida water, get your crystals out. Whatever it is that you have to do that you feel comfortable doing to spiritually protect yourself. Because, like I said, we're talking about spirits that are no longer in the physical world. So you want to make sure you're spiritually protected. Disclaimer number two, these discussions that we're going to be having today are, again, our opinions and our views on these stories. And in no way is this show meant to disregard any of the occurrences that had happened. There's some of these victims that have family members that are still living. So we are wanting to keep this show respectful. And again, these are only our opinions, not meant to be personal or anything like that. So, disclaimer number three. If you are not into talking about gory things, if you are squeamish, this is not going to be a show that you're going to want to tune into, because we are going to be discussing serial killers and the occurrences of those murders and the things that happen to them. So again, if you are squeamish and you cannot handle these type of conversations, you guys can tune in next Thursday when we get back to discussions that maybe are not so gory. So again, okay, so bringing you guys today's show is myself, Nina Soul. Once I can get my. All right, Nina Soul. And joining me live are our lovely sister Bruja co host, Cass La Sassy Bruja, and Chimu. Man, that was a lot of disclaimer.
Yeah, it was.
I was like, how do I word this stuff without like, you know what I'm saying? It's just a lot because, like, like I said, some of these like stories are still, they're still living relatives to the victims, so
Yeah.
we definitely want to be we're being respectful in our discussion. And again, the information I feel like we're going to be talking about is information that's already out there, like, because we did our research, and we do our thing before we bring to you guys, so that we can have some facts that are, that have already been talked about. So everything that we're talking about here today is nothing different that you can't already find on YouTube videos, documentaries, newspaper articles, all those things. All that information is already out there. We are simply taking the serial killers and the spiritual or occult or witchcraft aspect of some of these serial killers, because some of these serial killers, which unfortunately is why what we do kind of gets a bad rep, because some of those serial killers do things that are connected to the occult or connected in some way to witchcraft. So when there's serial killers out there and they see that they somehow were affiliated in spiritual practice of witchcraft, then that's where that whole demonic thing comes in, and where we get labeled. So I do feel like it's important for us to talk about it as practitioners, as witches, to kind of clear the air about some of those things, because I know that there's going to be a lot of new people who are going to be tuning into these shows that might have curiosities about witchcraft. And You know, who better to answer their questions than the witches, right?
Yeah.
So so yes, what did you guys, Sister Cass, what did you
Who are we
find?
doing it on?
uh
Who are we doing it on?
who are we doing? Well, see, and that's the thing. I guess we could talk about who we're gonna be doing our discussion on. Yeah.
Okay. He
He
is.
already looks like gore. He's
I
like,
know, yeah, because he is. Since we're talking about serial killers, he
Uh-huh.
is. Oh, this fly, really fly? Um, he
Oh.
is America's first serial killer.
mm.
Yeah, let me get some of that
Yeah,
cascarilla.
I was gonna say that you just saw a
But you
fly.
know what?
Look at
I have
we
been.
all
I
looking for the cascarilla. Like, oh, hold up, we
like.
almost forgot. We almost forgot. That was the disclaimer.
I had put it on already, but he
Again.
was America's first serial killer. I will say I am a little obsessed with this person, only because
Ooh.
the history, how his mind worked, and it happened in Chicago of all
Oh, wow.
places.
Yeah.
So
I feel
tonight
like I already know who you're talking about.
tonight I'm going to be talking about H. Holmes. Yes.
I love it. I love it.
America's first serial killer.
I love it. And you, Chimo?
I am going to be discussing you know what? It's interesting because when we're researching these people, I could see where Cass is like, I have an interest in
Mm-hmm.
their being, not being itself, but like just how they function
Yeah.
in the thought process, you know? I am doing Richard um, Levia Munoz Ramirez, also
Damn,
known as
girl.
the Night Stalker. You
The
know how
Night
us Latinos are?
Stalker.
Yeah.
The Night Stalker. So that's who I'm doing mine on.
Okay, so I hope that I was like hoping that y'all were gonna be like, I couldn't decide. So I did like, because I wanted originally, um because I'm back in Wisconsin now. So my thing was I wanted to find what other Wisconsin serial killers there are. And I was really surprised when I seen that we actually have 6 of them. Like there's
What?
6. There are 6, and very close to like where I'm living at. Very close. Like Milwaukee, I think has like 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was 2 of them from Milwaukee, and like just like, so I was doing my research, and there was, again, it started out with one of them that I really wanted to do, um but then I was like, it just like I got curious about it. So I ended up finding like 6, but I guess I'll be just sharing like little bits of information from each one. But the one that I originally wanted to go with was Jeffrey Dahmer. And the reason why is because, there's just, it happened 45 minutes south of where I'm at. So it's not very far away.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like being old enough to see the news and see what was happening, and like, so I remembered that story very well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of why I went with Jeffrey Dahmer. But then there was other serial killers that came up that, just their stories were just like really like really crazy, really interesting. So yeah, I was watching documentaries, and it was interesting what I found out about my local area. you know yeah, so sis, what do you want to go ahead and start by well, actually, I'll go ahead and I'll ask. So out of the information that you guys researched, because did you guys research this, you researched the serial killer, but did you like kind of, it made me curious as to like what the brain does that makes them a serial killer. You know, like that's kind of where my mind went to, what in the brain makes a serial killer. You know, so then I got to researching that, and it was crazy because the other day I was talking about like where the intuition, or where the intuitive messages come to for me, and where my ego messages are at, like my thoughts, my, you know, my
Mm-hmm.
programming, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the spot right behind your eyes. So like that's the part of the brain. So I was researching, and I guess serial killers don't really have control of that part. And there's
Interesting.
actually scans that they can do of the brain that will pick up different colors. And the colors that, if they pick up yellow and red, that means that you have it in you to be a serial killer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I was researching about that. And again, that it's like you can Google you can Google a serial killer's brain. And there
Mm.
was a guy that did he wrote like a whole like an essay of how he had gotten curious about his family because he was related to a couple serial killers, and he got curious as to if it was something that ran in his family. So
Right.
he talked to his family about it, and asked his family if they would want to volunteer to doing this testing so that he could find out if there was any more serial killers in their family. So then he got his wife tested. She came up no. He got his two kids tested. They came up no. And then he got tested himself, and come to find out that he was a serial killer. Like it came up in his
Damn.
in with his scan, it came up that he had the yellow and the red, and he was the one who was going, he would have, like, he had it in him to be a cold-blooded serial killer.
Damn.
So there is actually a brain scan that can be done to tell you about that. And I just found it interesting. But also what I found interesting is the same person that was curious as to what makes a serial killer happened to be the serial killer. So then I was like, damn, I'm like, now I'm over here wondering. I was like, my
If
mind
I
was
was,
all twisted. I was
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
I'm over here wondering. I just Googled this. Like,
Damn. I
yeah,
need to know, right? Am I a fucking serial killer or not?
right. Like, damn. So what did you
Sign
guys,
me up. Where's that scan?
what do y'all think of that? Would you guys do that? Like, would y'all get like the scan on your brain to find out?
I think I'd be afraid.
You'd be afraid.
I wouldn't be afraid. I think I would want to know.
You would want to know.
No.
Yeah. You know what? Because a lot of times, for me, when I was looking up my research, I was actually looking at birth charts
Mm.
and how birth charts play a role on a lot of these serial killers and things like that. And I ended up finding which zodiac has the most serial killers in them and the
Mm.
least. So, I mean, I can,
Sis, do you know them? Do you know
the
them but don't
zodiac?
say them? Yeah, but do you know them but don't say them? The one with the most and the one with the least. Because I think it'll be so much
Absolutely.
fun. Okay, so I want everybody to go ahead and guess. Answer to Chimu's question, which I will have her repeat it, but I want you guys to go ahead and put your answers here in the comments. And I really want
Don't
to
Google it.
people, don't Google it. Don't Google
Don't
it. You
Google it.
Google it, you're cheating. And
You're
your
cheating.
ancestors will be disappointed.
Yeah, they will know.
Very,
They don't know.
very.
So Chimo's gonna go ahead and ask you guys the question again. I want you guys to put your answer in the comment section of this live video.
Yes. From what do people think is the zodiac that has the most serial killers in them?
Yes.
Starting from number one. Let's do number one. Do, 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 do,
Hold on, wait.
do,
Let me see.
Mm,
Well, I want to know who I want to know if who has the most and who has the least. I think they
most.
should guess
The most
like
Can
and
we
the least
the
guess?
most
Can
and the
we
least.
guess?
Yeah, let's go ahead and
in the
guess two.
zodiac.
Let's go ahead and
Okay.
guess two, but
Guess
let's give
two.
them some time so that they
Yeah.
can go ahead
Yeah.
and so
Don't
okay,
Google it.
let's see. I'm going to guess. No, you go ahead and guess first, sis. Cass.
It's a strong two, but I would say cancers since we're the cancer season.
Bitch, I'm a rising one. Stop playing. I ain't gonna tell you the degree though, but go for it. Okay, Cancer and what else?
Scorpios.
I could see a Scorpio. Them
I could
bitches
see
are
a Scorpio.
crazy.
I could see a
No offense
Scorpio.
to my Scorpios.
What about the
Okay.
least?
I still love y'all though, Scorpios. The
What about,
least,
yeah, the least.
Tauruses.
It's funny.
Okay, I'm gonna say Gemini, most likely Gemini.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm gonna say the one that is less likely, Pisces.
Okay.
Okay, let's see what are some of our guesses. Let's see. We have let's see.
Yeah, some people are commenting.
We have Jeremy said Scorpio number 1,
See,
2
Scorpio.
Leo, 3 Aries.
Aries.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Coffee and Cake said Gemini. Koya said Libra, Gemini.
Libra.
Yeah, Libra, right?
Of course.
Of course. Coffee Cake said Gemini the most and Leo the least. Rebecca said Scorpio the most and Virgo the least. Yeah. That's a good guess.
Who was
That's a good
that?
one. That was
Jessica?
Rebecca. Rebecca guessed that.
Oh, Rebecca.
Koya said most Libra or Gemini. Least, I don't know. Jeremy said agree and Pisces being least. Yes. I see.
All right,
I
so
feel
we're
like,
ready?
yeah. Should we say it already? Should we say it already or should we give them some more time?
Let's see if anybody else hops on.
Okay, let's see if anybody else hops on. It'll be fun to get guesses.
Yeah.
To guess that.
Yeah. Oh, don't forget,
when
you
I
guys,
did my-
go ahead and share this live stream. Make sure you share the live stream.
Don't
Go ahead,
forget.
sis.
Yeah, I was more interested in how, like, when they were born and their birth chart and how, you know, it could play a role on how they're serial killers, you know. So it was interesting to find that out about their zodiacs and about their birth charts, you know, or especially the one that I was researching about, things like that. So it kind of makes sense.
I could see that. I feel like I could see that because that's the thing too, is that like when people have like already like, you know, like a mental disorder, and then all of a sudden like the energies of like the planets and stuff like changes or switches, it
Or
could cause them to
alters.
snap, or alters, it
Yeah.
could cause them to snap, you know. So I could see that.
Yeah. So mental and positioning of their birth, that makes sense.
It makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I
what
also
would you think, Cass?
I feel like some of the zodiacs are not as like, you know, some of the zodiacs I feel like have a hard time dealing with their emotions.
I think so
Very
too.
true.
I think the different placements, like Chimu said, you know, with the birth charts, it all depends on the placements of the planets. I think your environment that you grew up in or they grew up in kind of will have an effect on that, and their mental, you know, have some effect on them.
Yeah.
So I think that goes hand in hand with each other. Yeah, because if you've had a rough life growing up, you feel you're some type of anger in there, and how are they gonna release it
Mm-hmm.
when they don't know how to do it in a positive way?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
I feel like,
fetishes actually play a good role on that too.
what is that, sis?
The
Fetishes?
fetish, you know
Yeah.
how people have certain fetishes?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
that does play a role on mental stability
Mm,
and positioning in their charts as well. Like, you
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
know, some people have a crazy fetish, you'd be like,
Yeah, that's one of the ones here in Wisconsin. Um, there was like one of the ones that I found, one of the serial killers here from Wisconsin. I don't remember his name. I'd have to look it up, but he was actually a police officer. And
Jesus.
he had a fetish for BD, what is it called?
BDSM.
BDSM. Yeah, he had a
Hmm.
fetish for BDSM, which
What is that?
it's BDSM is like bondage. They use like the ball gags. They
Oh,
like whip
Tie
each other's
up.
ass.
Yeah.
CCC, yes.
Kick each other
Mhm.
in the stuff and
Private area.
Mhm.
not
Mhm.
that I ever did any of these things, but I had friends that were I had friends that were into like the underground type stuff, like, you know what I'm saying? So I've heard
Right.
about it. But yeah, never anything that like interested me. I don't
For
know.
sure.
But
You
so
kick me in the crotch anytime.
Yeah, right.
Right.
oh my gosh. So
But not kick
the
me.
one that I had found, he had actually he had that was like his fetish. So he ended up posting an ad. He posted an ad on this website, like pretty much like letting people know like that he was like down to handcuff, down to like cage somebody up. He posted it on there that he was looking for somebody that wanted to be his slave, that wanted to sign up to be a slave. So there was actually I don't know how many women might have responded to the ad, but for sure one of them did. She was 19, I believe. And he paid her to go from to move to Wisconsin from Oregon. And she did. She came over here. I don't know how long he like kept her. I think somebody had made a report that he had her for like 5 years or something like that in a cage.
Oh my
I don't know
goodness.
how long she was in there. I don't really remember, but I do know that he pretty much did like he tortured her to death. Like with like a ball gag, and like he was like choking her and stuff like that, and doing it was something called like breath control. So I guess it's like where you like hold somebody's nose and their mouth, and then you like hold it and then you like let it go, like when the person decides, like I guess it's like, it's that type of thing. So he was
Yeah.
like doing this with her and he killed her, and then he ended up I think he cut her in half or in pieces and put her into her own suitcase, and kept her in the freezer for like a year, or in the fridge for a year.
Mm-mm-mm.
And then I guess she started like decomposing, and she like her body expanded and it opened the fridge door. So he taped the fridge shut and kept her in there for like another, I don't know how long. But then he ended up finding another woman. I believe she was like, this one was like in her 30s. And this
Yeah.
one he did a little bit more planned. He had her delete all her social medias. She had to stop going into work. She had to stop paying her parking tickets. She had to like he had her do all these things to kind of make herself disappear before coming to be with him. And again, same thing happened. He ended up killing her and shoving her inside of a suitcase. And
Mm-mm-mm.
he left the two women's bodies in suitcases on the side of a highway. And I think that they were out there for about another year before like the people that take care of like the side of the highways, like the grass and stuff like that,
Yeah.
they found these suitcases. One of them was covered with flies and had like a hand sticking out that was mummified. And so they ended up finding out that it was two women, and they took the police officer into custody, and he ended up admitting to everything. And
Wow.
he was actually very detailed with his story. And the crazy thing is that you can watch this whole documentary on YouTube. And what I found so crazy is that when they brought him in, they knew that he was guilty of these murders already because there was evidence. They found DNA on the ropes that he had tied them up with. And so there was already DNA evidence that he had did it. But so he was in the room for questioning, and they didn't disarm him. And so he had actually told them, if I was questioning somebody that was guilty of a murder, he was like, I wouldn't let them have a baton on them. So he was actually telling like his partners, like basically his fellow police officers, that like they shouldn't have let him have a weapon on him. So yeah, it's really crazy. You guys can find that documentary on
That's strike number
YouTube.
one. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
can you imagine you're questioning a fucking serial killer because you know that that's a serial killer, and they're like,
right.
y'all stupid for having me here with a fucking gun or a baton. Bitch, you gonna catch me flying out that room like, see ya, somebody could finish this investigation.
Another famous one from Wisconsin is Ed Gein.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Yep.
that he inspired Silence of the Lambs, actually.
Yeah.
He had a
Yeah.
farm.
Inspired Psycho.
Yeah. No, not
También.
like, yeah, well, yeah, that too. But it was more like Silence of the Lambs because of he would wear women's skin.
Mm-hmm.
He would make lampshades out of it.
Yeah.
Even down to like the light switches, like the cover part of it would be like nipples.
Ooh,
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
okay.
Yeah, like he was, and then he had a big black cauldron that he would cook these body parts in. And I actually went to go see it at the Haunted Museum, Zach Baggins Haunted Museum in Las Vegas. He has the cauldron there. And he said when they first discovered the cauldron in, I want to say it was like a one of the farmhouses or like a big shed, that it still had blood and bones inside of it.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So they don't know if he was actually consuming these parts or if he was just trying to get rid of it, but it looked like he was kind of cooking it. So
Cannibalism.
That is crazy. I got a story after once we get to it. I told you guys about the bones that we had found in Chicago, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy.
I remember. You told us that story a long time. I remember that.
Yeah, I will never forget it. Like
Ugh.
I had a human body in a human bones, a human body. I had human bones in a bag in my shop, and I was like, yo. That was really crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy though, because you don't know.
Right.
When you go
You don't
forward,
know. It's the woods.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know what might happen.
You don't know. It could have been like you said, like a homeless person, or it could have been an actual person that went missing. You don't know. You never know those things, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it had like a smell like it had been cooked though. Like the bones smelled like soup. It was really it was
They're
creepy.
probably trying to get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the scary
not
part.
cool.
Ooh.
Mm,
Mm,
mm, mm,
mm, mm.
mm.
Chimo, you want to go ahead
I,
and tell us about yours?
so mine is a crazy motherfucker. You know what though? It's a sad story though at the same time because learning about the Night Stalker, and he goes by other names too that they've given him, but um he was born in El Paso. He was born to an abusive father.
Mm.
His father would abuse him, beat him and stuff like that. He had other siblings, altogether there is about uh, altogether there's 5 children, you know.
Mm.
Um so he was already born in a time where it was just riddled, like it, put it this way, he didn't have a chance. So, and that's the sad part of it, because he could have,
Mm-hmm.
with the type of birth chart that he had, he could have been an artist. He could have went that route, but he
Mm-hmm.
didn't because he just didn't have that lifestyle. His dad was abusive. Um, he was pretty much molded by his first cousin. His first older cousin pretty much like introduced him into like this side. So with that, that's what triggered me to say, what the fuck is up with his chart and his DNA,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because he had an older cousin who was into um I don't want to like I don't want to offend nobody, but raping women when he was in Vietnam, his older cousin. And he was showing him these pictures and just things like that he's done in Vietnam. And this is where, as a 9-year-old kid, they're still learning,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
So when his cousin, who was teaching him how to do these fucking things or showing him these graphic photos, he ended up getting locked away for murder because he shot his wife in the face cold blooded. That's his first cousin. So obviously it's in their genetics, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was witness to that. So he ended up moving with his sister. And guess what? His motherfucking brother in law taught him how to be a peeping Tom.
Mm.
Que cochino. So not only did he learn this from his first cousin, so now he's learning it from his brother-in-law, on how to be a peeping Tom. And this is where it created and it sparked that interest of murders, kidnapping, raping, things like that. Because this was something that was taught to him, you know. Um, Interesting enough, um, he was born on a leap year, and that's what really caught my eye too. He was born February 29th.
Mm.
And a lot of times in leap years, those only come what every 4 months, every 4 years, you know. Um, he ended up dying in June 7th. What was it in 2013? So he hasn't even made 10 years yet. And to think he was married. Can you believe this? He was
Mm-hmm.
married to a woman named Doreen, right? And she was a journalist. Okay, she was a fucking journalist. So she sent him some rings, right? Some wedding bands, and they were in gold. And the motherfucker sent them back and said, Satanists do not wear gold. I said, this
Oh,
motherfucker. The balls.
right.
He's done a lot of crimes. He's got 13 counts of murder. He's got 5 counts of attempted murder. So that means he succeeded in murdering more than attempting to murder. 11 counts of sexual assault. He was a pig.
Mm.
And 14 counts of burglary. And the thing is that he died before his execution. So that's kind of crazy, you know. He died of cancer, as a matter of fact. And a lot of his victims were like from the ages of like 15 and up. Actually, I want to say 9 and up. His youngest victim, unfortunately, was 9 years old. It was a child. His oldest victim was like 80 something years old. So it's like you fucking creep, you know what I mean?
Right.
Even, you know.
It's kind of like going after the defenseless,
Yeah, like seriously, and
like targeting those.
targeting like certain, because they were all different age groups, but however, it's like there was no limit for him and his age of what he was targeting, I was just like, you fucking sicko.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just to know again the influence that he has had as a child, it's like he was never given a chance to even like do better or something. His weapons of choice: a handgun, knives, machete, a tire iron, and a claw hammer. I was like, what the fuck is a claw hammer? And I looked it up and I was like, girl, bye. Fucking crazy. It was a cycle. So there was a question during his trial that he had asked. And I said, he's fucking smart. He did drop out of school early. He dropped out like literally freshman year. But just looking at his thought process, you're like, you know what? He wasn't a stupid man. He was kind of smart.
Mm-hmm.
And the question that he asks is there such a thing as a bad seed? And I said, oh, well, seedling, let me look at that birth chart, baby.
Mm-hmm.
So for him, it's been said that he's conducted these murders because of satanic rituals. Majority of his victims were found with satanic symbols, you know, with lipstick on their body and with their own blood on the walls.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, interesting with this one. You know what I mean? A lot of the times they would find the pentagram, not pentacle. They're two different things. So that's what made the spark of, well, he's in a satanic cult. And a lot of people were also saying that it's almost like what's his name? What's his fucking name? What's the serial killer? It's in the tip of my tongue now. Charles Manson. A
Okay.
lot of people were like, well, maybe he's trying to be a copycat like Charles Manson, because Charles Manson also had these type of similarities.
Mm-hmm.
And not for nothing, even when he got caught, he did not confess to not one murder. It was just a lot of DNA that kept linking up as the years came by. And of course, as technology kept growing, right? So they were like, you know what? Let's put him in a cell with another serial killer, because maybe he would feel comfortable and he would open up and confess about these murders that he's done. So they ended up putting him in a jail cell with a serial killer, which he also considered as his hero. Check that out. And the hero, or the serial killer that they put him in the same cell, was called the Hillside Strangler, and he was from the 70s.
Oh, I heard of that name before.
Yeah.
Do you know that this motherfucker, he didn't confess. He was excited to be in the same cell as him. He was excited to share gruesome horror stories and things like that. Again, never confessed, though, to any murders that he did. And the audacity of this crazy motherfucker to sit here and ask that other serial killer, the Hillside Strangler, hey, dude, are you going to come and see me in my execution day? The fuck is that? Psycho. That's psycho.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that just made me think about things just like, what the fuck? Like, this nigga's, it's a little, it can be disturbing because sometimes you're just reading about it. It's like, can we close these doors? Can we lock our windows? Because first you're peeping Tom, So what are you doing? You're peeping through windows, and this is where he would get a lot of children,
Yeah, he's
because of
studying
open
people.
windows.
That's what they're doing. They're studying people.
Studying, he did prey upon a lot of people, different ages, but he was studying people because he was seeing the things that he would do. For an example, one of his victims, she was coming home from work. She opened up the garage door. Who pops out? He pops out, right? Okay. And he shoots her right away, but because she had her keys and she blocked, the bullet ended up ricocheting, so she didn't die yet. Her roommate, on the other hand, hears a gunshot, goes in the kitchen, she ducks down. He comes in, she peeks her head up the counter, boom, shoots her in the head, dead instant.
Oh my gosh.
So how would you know? How would you know? How would you know what time someone comes home for them to open up the garage door? How would you know stuff like that? That means you're watching them. So it's literally like prey, And the gruesome thing to find out about him is that he would kill his victims, and then he would go in the refrigerator if it was in the house. He would kill his victims, go in their kitchen, and make something to eat.
I heard that about him.
That got you that hungry? Well, you need to make yourself a sandwich and be like, oh, let me see what she made, at dinner last night.
You know what that was though, is that was him prolonging his satisfaction for what he just did. It was his way of celebrating.
Yeah, and you know what? I thought about maybe that was him feeding the evil spirit that he was just.
It too.
You get what I mean? Because even as a young child, running away from home to escape the abuse and physical abuse and things like that, he would sleep in the cemetery. So he was very comfortable with muertos. That's how I see it. If you sleep in a cemetery and you're able to sleep in the cemetery, let's say it this way: if you're able to,
that's not a challenge. That's not a challenge, anybody. Yeah.
If you're able to feel safe and secure in a cemetery, then that means you're very comfortable in the dark side, the dark shadow side of you. You know what I mean? Which is a lot of places and a lot of times that some people just don't want to do. I don't know. It was just reading his story and doing the research about it and finding out his zodiac, finding out his birth chart. There's a lot of videos out there in YouTube as well where you can catch the serial killer's birth charts, and they've had a lot of different ones. So it was really interesting to see where his fetish of sexual fetishes came in, what planets ruled that in his birth chart, and also how and why the occult came to play in his time of doing these murders. And you know what? He was a serial killer for at least about a year and a half. It wasn't like it was prolonged type of serial killer, but he was a serial killer for at least a good year and a half. That's enough to kill almost 20, you know what I'm saying? Randomly, so. Yeah,
I agree that they're really like, serial killers are usually really intelligent. That's like smart. The crazy thing. They're very smart. Yeah. Like even this the cop that I still gotta find his name. Even that cop, he was in West Bend. So even that that police officer drove around with these dead bodies in these suitcases in his trunk for at least a year. And he would have partners ride in the car with him. The only reason why something was done about that was because why he left the bodies on the side of the highway was because his his coworkers started to complain about how bad his vehicle smelled. So he's
You
over
see?
here driving around a police car with two dead
Mm-hmm.
bodies in the trunk, or
Right.
inside of suitcases in the trunk. So
Yeah.
it is like, for serial killers, it's really, there's a game that goes along with it of how long they can go without getting caught. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like they are so intelligent that they think that they're like above the law and above, so I don't know. It was really interesting that how they are really intelligent. Even
Yeah, it
Jeffrey
is.
Dahmer was really intelligent too.
They're smart. They're smart
Mhm.
people, and even like, you know, the Night Stalker utilized every single thing that was taught to him from his first cousin being in the military and serving for Vietnam. He taught him all these antics, and he taught him all these military style training. And he used that. He used that against, to prey upon his victims. And just like his brother in law, sat over here and taught him how to be the peeping Tom in the block, again, he used that to lure in his victims, and he used that to commit these type of crimes. So, you know, that's I that's smart enough for me, that you're able to use those type of skills that were taught to you, right? And get away with it for at least a good year and a half, and stalking the community and putting fear in a community because you're like, oh my God, this guy, And you know how many times they tried catching him and they still have not caught him? There was so
Wow.
many ways because, there was a footprint from a shoe, a particular shoe that was not popular then at the time, but it is now. Okay. And the cops had traced where this shoe was, where it was shipped, and things like that. And sure enough, they caught it to everything, to the T. However, didn't prove enough evidence. You know what I mean? So it was just interesting. I'm like, just dodging the bullet. You know what I mean? How these serial
Mhm.
killers would dodge certain bullets and still fucking get away with the crime. They're smart individuals, that's for sure. Because again, his birth chart states and shows that he could have been a beautiful, a bomb ass artistic person when it comes to artistry.
Mhm.
However, because of his lifestyle and because of his upbringing and because of his teachings of what they were teaching him, it didn't go that way. But
Mhm.
it still showed he still had that inclination of being a serial killer.
Mhm. I
And
think
I'm like,
that
oh,
was kind of like his art to him, because he was messed up, and
yeah,
that was his
he
art.
it was his art because if you're drawing, satanic symbols right on people and on
Mhm.
the wall, and the fact that he is not a clean killer. Some killers are a little bit particular. They like to clean up after themselves. This one
Mhm.
did it. He didn't care. He's gonna stab you in the head 35 times, blood everywhere. It's like he glorified that. And I can see where you say that, Nina. That was his art.
Mhm.
That was his
Yeah,
art.
see,
So
this
it's
the
sickening.
mine's name was Steven Zelich. Zelich. Yeah, Steven Zelich, and he is known as um the suitcase killer. Oh, the suitcase murderer.
The
So,
suitcase murder.
and
Check
yeah,
you
and this
out.
is actually in West Allis. So I said West Bend, but it's West Allis.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, which still is not that far. So yeah, like,
No, it's still not that far from me.
I see, now I'm curious about his birth chart.
I'm
And the
telling
reason,
you.
yeah, the reason why, like, one of the other reasons why I was also interested in Jeffrey Dahmer is because he actually was a cannibalist. Like
Yeah.
ate them,
He ate
which
them.
if you look in other cultures, there is actually a practice where they do, where they do eat their people, and they go for one. And there was I forgot what documentary I was watching, but there was a tribe that were cannibalists, and they wanted only really the pineal gland. They wanted to eat the pineal gland of other people because they felt that it heightened their intuition, that it gave them like it gave them powers,
Mm.
so they would want to eat the pineal gland of other people. But then there's also it kind of makes you think, because for Jeffrey Dahmer, there was he had an altar that he had made with human skulls. So what I was wondering, and I don't know if they ever really talked to him about, because they did lots of interviews with him, but I don't know if there was ever like somebody that um like really ask some questions on as to if there was anything like any energetic or any spiritual reason of why he did what he was doing. So I
Mm.
think maybe since that documentary had talked about how other people wanted to eat the pineal gland, it kind of makes me wonder. And again, this isn't information that I found out there, but it made me wonder of maybe he eats people to like have for so that he could have like some sort of like longevity, or maybe it was his way of like,
Obtaining
because he
some
had
type of power,
attaining some type of power, or maybe it's what he thought was going to, I don't know, like it
or
was
maybe whatever was possessing him,
possessing him.
Mhm.
he
Mhm.
needed to
Was
feed
having a
off of.
hunger
Yeah.
for other people, for that's true, whatever was in him. And so it kind of makes me wonder if like some of these serial killers aren't also possessed, by a spirit that makes them do these things.
Hmm. Creepy.
Mm-hmm.
That's so creepy.
Sis, go
What
ahead
are,
and tell us more about your serial killer.
oh, okay. I was gonna say
Or
who's on
did
the chat.
did Chimu go somewhere?
I think so.
Okay.
You want to see who's on the chats?
Yeah, let's see who's on
Yeah.
the chats, and then I know a lot of people were curious as to what the zodiacs were. Uh let's see. Oh, Dark Beauty said cool discussion. Thank you so much, Dark Beauty. Desert Siren said I'm sure some crazy, creepy, horrible stuff goes on in the woods. Oh, because Koya said that she had found some bones in the woods too, that the woods are pretty creepy. Yeah, I that's another thing too, is that some of these serial killers do usually leave, like they'll leave like after a while they might leave the bones in some sort of like in woods, or sometimes in places that they can be found for whatever reason. It's kind of like the one that the cop that I researched, like you left it on the side of the highway, you know what I mean? Like, so you wanted it to be found,
Yeah. Yeah.
because why would you leave it on the side of a highway? It's like you leave something there where you want to be found, sometimes. um let's see. Oh, Desert Siren said, what about the serial killers that were never caught, aka Jack the Ripper, Zodiac Killer? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's actually a show. I'll have to ask Koya to go ahead and put it in the comments, but there's actually a show where people have had close encounters with serial killers.
Oh my God.
Like there was
That is
yeah,
scary.
yeah, and then to find out later on that, like the stories are really crazy. Like they'll talk about their interactions with somebody creepy, and then all of a sudden, it like there was one that I think he had seen on TV, that they had arrested this man that he had just had a conversation with in like a restaurant or something, and that the man had gotten arrested for killing like I don't know how many people, and like it's just like it just all came down to he could have been one of those people. You know, so it's like we also have interactions with people sometimes who could be serial killers, you know. And yeah, so it's okay. This is let's see, Koya put, I'm trying to see if they don't have a database for that time frame. Okay, yeah, about, so they're talking about how the Jack the Ripper, Zodiac killer, about how, about the DNA. Let's see. Oh, it's called Let's Not Meet is what it's called. Where is that at, Koya? Is that on let us know where they can find that show at, because it was a really good, it's a really good show. I recommend for you guys to check it out. Chimu, do you want to go ahead and tell us this, what the zodiacs are? Everybody's wondering.
Yeah,
Spotify.
let me cleanse the space though, cause shit.
Yeah.
Okay, look. I went real quick, stepped out the room, and I have this on my shelf. Okay, I placed this on today, right? And it's like, it's not on the edge. However, it fell. So I don't know. Maybe I slammed the door too hard, you know, because I like to debunk shit first. But you know.
Or
I said,
we're
what
gonna
the
sage
fuck?
just in case.
Yeah, you're gonna sage just in case, yes.
Sage just in case. Okay, we ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes.
You guys are interesting. The number one zodiac sign for serial killers: Pisces.
Pisces.
The one most likely to be the killer?
Let
Number
me see.
one,
Test it.
Pisces.
Number one,
Okay.
that was the one that I was like, oh, Pisces won't do shit. Like,
Yeah,
I think Koya even said it too. Pisces don't do shit. Like,
Pisces,
being the
because
one.
that's number one, because Pisces is tied to mysticism, occultism, things like that. And again, always know zodiac, everything's a duality, people. You have good, you have bad. So this is a dark side of what a zodiac is, and a lot of our serial killers that are out here, documented ones, they're Pisces. Okay, as a matter of fact, the Night Stalker is a Pisces. He was born February 29th. Okay, and the leaf. Ready?
Yeah.
Virgo. So Becky said it right when she said Virgo for the leaf. Virgo. Now, in order, it is.
That's my rising sign.
That's funny. So, in order from the highest to the lowest, it is Pisces. Scorpio comes in second.
Oh wow.
Sagittarius comes in third.
Okay.
Aquarius, Capricorn, Aries, Cancer, Taurus, Gemini. So we're going to the least.
Wow.
Gemini.
Wow, Gemini's all the way down there.
Gemini's all the way down there, okay? Leo, Libra, and then Virgo.
Aw. See? And Libra's all the way down at the bottom. Koya.
Not quite, but yeah.
Well, practically. I mean, one away.
But it is. It's one away, you know? So not for nothing. But those are the zodiac signs that can have serial killer characteristics in them, you know? But again, these are sun signs. We're not talking about moon. We're not talking about rising. We're not talking about, you know, everything else that's in there. So these are just rising. It's more deep than just your plain zodiac. No, like, you know, look into your rising, look into your sun, well, your sun sign, look into your moon sign, look into your ascendant and your descendant, you know, because these are also, they play big factors. In your birth chart when it comes down to the characteristics of a serial killer. Yeah. Pisces. I was like, oh shit. I could see that. I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see
Um,
that.
let's see. So, Koya said that show is on Spotify. So if you guys want to check it out,
Fine.
it's
Okay.
called Let's Not.
Mm.
Yeah, Let's Not Meet. Let's see. Gaga Boosh is here.
Gaga boosh, sugar, healer, bum,
Oh my
Do a little shimmy.
She said she said I almost started flirting with a cousin's coworker years back. He was later arrested for killing a woman he started dating to get her money. And I had gotten some money from my mom's passing around then. Wow.
Wow.
Yep. They know because
Mm.
they watch.
They watch.
Yeah,
That is
I believe that.
creepy.
That is
Well, I'm
creepy.
glad
I'm
that nothing
sorry.
happened to her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seriously.
Divine was there blocking that shit.
Yeah.
Let's see. Dark Beauty said, "I've been secretly practicing witchcraft here and there for 6 years. I'm not a consistent witch at all, but this year I finally came out of the witchy closet and told everyone I'm a witch. That's
Good for
awesome.
you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And that's
Good
congratulations.
okay
for
if you're not
you.
consistent. It's okay.
It's
You don't have
okay.
to practice 24/7. It's you're a witch anyway. So witchy
Yeah.
shit's gonna happen around you all the time, whether you intentionally do it or not.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then Dark Beauty also said I lost friends because of it. Dark Beauty, if you lost friends because of it, they were not your friends from
No,
the
and you got
beginning.
us now. You got
And
us
you got,
now.
yeah, you traded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing is that if people live your life based off of what makes you happy, then they weren't really in your life because you are who you
Mm.
are. They were in your life because of who they want to see you to be, who they think you
Right.
are, or
What they
just
can get
whatever.
out of you,
Yeah, what
or
they can get out of you, what box you fit in,
yep.
so I was about to make a serial killer joke and I stopped myself. I was like, Nina,
Yeah, like, no, not do
don't
that.
you do that.
Do it.
Don't you say that. I caught myself. I caught myself. Yeah, here we go. Hold on. Yeah, that
That's
was not gonna be
funny.
Don't want
appropriate.
that.
I
Don't want
caught it though. Chimo, don't laugh. Chimo, don't encourage. Don't encourage her, okay? Oh my gosh.
Mm-mm.
yes,
I
yes.
do believe that it's structured though in DNA. When you have certain individuals who have those serial killer instincts or serial killer traits, I feel like that is something that's embedded in your DNA. I don't know. I just feel like it is. Like, how would I say
So
this?
you feel like they're born serial killers?
I do. I do
Yeah.
feel like
I
it is something that's been like you're being like it's born. You're born with that type of trait, unfortunately. You know what I mean?
I agree, and I also want to add that I feel like it is a DNA thing, but I definitely feel because our DNA is always it's always altering. Like our DNA
Always.
always alters. It's always altering. So if there's a little bit of that that's already in you and then you go through an abusive upbringing, then I feel like that also causes chemicals to shift and possibly
Yeah.
increase more into more of that serial killer um you know
Characteristics.
characteristic. and
Yeah.
and also too, serial killers lack empathy. Like they don't feel like how other people feel, so,
No, like
so
they
yeah.
don't.
And it's like the part that I least like to talk about it, like I hate talking about this part, and even worse is like, I don't know why I get and some people are gonna shun me for this. I'm gonna get shunned for this. I don't give a fuck. I for some reason it hurts me more when I hear about animals being tortured.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? But that's like that's where a lot of these serial killers start with, and it's
Me too.
Yeah.
I
Me
hate that
too.
part. Like, and I know that I should be more like angry about. It's not that I'm not angry. Like, not that I'm. It doesn't bother me that these are human beings. You know what I'm saying? But I guess like I don't know. I have like a really
Like
strong
they can't
connection
stand
with
up for
animals.
themselves, you know, or
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like
defend
a
themselves.
child. Like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like a child. Like yeah, like you just I there's yeah, I don't like when it comes to children and when it comes to animals. Like that
Yeah.
pisses me off the most. I
Yeah.
don't That's why I
Yeah.
didn't pick a serial killer that had to do anything with children or animals. Well, actually
And that's
Jeffrey
the thing
Dahmer
too,
did start with animals.
because it's like that's one of the like I guess, it's something like they say if you have a young child and you catch them doing things like that to animals,
Mm-hmm.
that's
You
something
better
that you
check
really
that
need to
shit.
work out for.
Yeah.
You need to check that shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because those are characteristics of what a serial killer does. Like
That's like a red flag right there. Like, take
It
your
big
is.
kids
time.
slow. Like, it's not normal. Don't try to make it okay. Don't try to
Right.
justify it in any way. If your kid is over there like torturing animals, take him to like a psychiatrist and get your child some help because
Yeah.
you know
Seriously.
there were signs. Like there were signs like with Jeffrey Dahmer, there were signs,
Mhm.
of where he was going. Like, and
Yeah.
it just it's almost like for example, Halloween, Michael Myers, like the newer ones, like, he had signs of it. Like there were he was doing things that people were
Mhm.
catching him doing. And sometimes it's like if somebody would have just got the person, the child that help,
Mhm.
like it could have saved lives.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that when you're looking at those type of characteristics and you're seeing it happen in a young age, and yeah, like don't be a yeah, well, don't be afraid, but at the same time, you kind of want to be like, we're gonna take you
Hmm.
to go see a doctor,
Right.
real quick because one, like you said in the beginning, it is something mental. So let's try to figure this out. And you know what? A big firm believer, go down your ancestry list and see who has the same traits.
Hmm.
Is this something that's DNA genetically done, or like not genetically, but DNA, or and don't be afraid to like if especially for our young or for our women who are having babies right now, get into that kid's birth chart at an early age. We have
Hmm.
all the tools in our hand to do that. So I don't know, just to see if those characteristics are there, and you never know. You never know. There's a lot of family history in every one of us that we have that no, you fucking lying. For real? For real? And you're like, unfortunately, yes. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because I feel like if there is um passing relatives or ancestors that you find out that do have these type of serial killer characteristics, and there's a lot of healing that you have to do
Hmm.
for your future self and for your future grandchildren and great grandchildren and so on and so forth. To cut that cycle, or I don't want to say reprogram, but kind of reprogram, that DNA, to prevent something like that to happen. I don't know. It's interesting though.
Hmm.
It's interesting.
Let's see. Let me go down. If anybody has any questions or anything that you guys would like to add, please go ahead and put that in the comments and we will be reading through them. I don't know why I said it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Oh, Desert Sirens of Virgo. Koya's Virgo. Gagaboosh is a Scorpio. She said her what was it? Her stepson is a Pisces, and she tells him all the time it's not okay to kill people. Sister Stacy just joined us. Let's see. Dark Beauty said, "Thank you all for your support. You're very welcome."
You're welcome.
Yes.
Koya said, "It comes down to mental making and aggression, narcissistic inherited." Yeah, aggression, narcissistic inherited.
Well, narcissistic, that also plays like people who are very good manipulators.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, those are the ones you really got to be careful with. You know, the ones who know how to manipulate. Because I feel like that is a very strong characteristic of a serial killer. I couldn't see myself even hurting an animal because sometimes when I whip my cat's ass,
oh my god!
Oh, because then after a while you just like, damn, bitch, like.
I'd be like, why'd you make me do that?
Why'd you make me come here?
Right.
And then I just want to grab him and be like,
Like I say, my dog is getting, she's a viejita now, so she don't get no more spankings.
No, that's right.
I can't spank you no more.
Yeah.
Can't spank you no more, honey.
I don't even remember the last time either one of these two got a spanking. I mean, Armani gets like little spanks, like, you know, like out of ansias or ganas, but not like I want to hurt him. It's like,
yeah.
You motherfucker, I love you.
Yeah.
I just want to eat you.
And then he starts like wagging his tail, like, do it again. He does. He likes it. He likes it. Yeah.
He's like, yeah, awesome. One more time, Mom.
Yeah. Do it again.
That's so funny.
So is it my turn? My turn?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to start off with the quote that H.H. Holmes wrote while he was incarcerated, right before his hanging, because he did get hung. So he wrote his book. He wrote a book while he was in there. He wrote, quote, "I was born with the devil in me. I could not help the fact that I was a murderer, no more than the poet can help the inspiration to sing. I was born with the evil one standing as my sponsor beside the bed where I was ushered into the world, and he has been with me since." Creeps, begeeps. So
what does that tell you though? Like what messages do you, because I pick up a couple messages in there.
I pick up like that he was probably driven to do these killings, you know. He was chosen, I feel, to do this, you know. What do you think, sis?
I feel like he either he can remember, because you know there are people that remember being born, you know, and he might even remember being born and having like you know, having like visions of like dark spirits around him, you know, because when we're being born, like there are spirits that help us to come into the world, you know. They pretty much like help us walk to the door, like, you know. And then also, you know, so it's like what the spirits that were bringing him might have been like some some evil ones, some evil spirits. And it almost sounds like as he grew, that energy grew in him until
It
he,
did. It
yeah, it's like
intensified.
he
Yeah.
needed to satisfy it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So Herman Webster Mudgett was his birth name. He was born May 16th, 1861. So he is a fellow Taurian,
Mm-hmm.
but he is better known as Dr. Henry Howard Holmes, or H. Holmes. So his killings was active between the years of supposedly December 1891 to 1894. But I have read the book The Devil in the White City. I was gifted that book by Marianne when you guys had the shop. I love that book. That's when I started, like really diving deep into him. And from where he grew up, he was born in Gilmanton, New Hampshire. And there was a child that went missing in that town. Nobody knows what happened to this kid. So let me see. So he had different aliases. Of course, Devil in the White City, the Torture Doctor. He used various aliases throughout his life. He went to the University of Vermont, and then he finished out his schooling at the University of Michigan.
And she's smart.
He was very smart. They noticed that he was very smart. He became a school teacher at the age of 16. A school teacher at the age of 16. At one point in his life, when he was younger, he would get bullied. He would get in trouble a lot. And I think in one incident, he was told to stare at a skeleton that they had hanging up in one of them. I want to say in the school, to teach anatomy. So he was told to stare. He was in trouble, so he was told to stare at this. But growing up, he was known to torture animals, so that he would do that. So by the age of 18, he got married, had a son, and then let me see. Let me get my facts. His father was a farmer, and an alcoholic. So it was a rough life for him growing up. So he became a teacher, and then he ended up moving to Chicago. That's how he ended up in Chicago. Well, no, first he went to New York. There was rumors that there was a little boy that went missing. And some said that he was with this little boy. And so he said, no, the little boy returned back to his home or whatever. They never found. And then they didn't even investigate what happened to the little boy. So he got the hell out of Dodge.
That's horrible.
He worked at an asylum for a while. He worked at a drugstore in Philadelphia, and a boy had died after taking medicine that was purchased from that store. He denies any involvement, and after that, that's when he goes to Chicago. So he changes his name from Herman Webster Mudgett to Henry Howard Holmes, so that because he was really scamming people at one point. What he would do was, there was a schoolmate that he had when he was in college in Michigan, where he told his classmate, look, sign me as your beneficiary on your insurance policy. Since they're in the medical field and they're learning about bodies, of course they would come across cadavers. So they came across this cadaver that that kind of looked like the guy, and they would pass it off as, oh, this is so and so. So he did that a lot of the times. He would have people sign over their insurance policies to him, and he would find cadavers and make them like kind of like mess their face up, make them unrecognizable, and say this is so and so, and he would get paid this money, and he will go across the U.S. this. So while he was still married, mind you, he was still married this whole time. He ended up moving to Chicago. And he came across this pharmacy that was up on around 63rd and Jackson. It was the Holton Pharmacy. They hired him as help in there. Supposedly the husband disappeared because he found out. He left. The husband left because the H.H. Holmes was having an affair with the wife. So the husband left. The wife had a daughter. Supposedly the wife and the daughter went missing. To H.H. Holmes, he's telling everybody, oh, they moved to California. They're gone. They sold me this building. I don't know where they went. Right? Okay, so he ends up, let me see. He ends up marrying someone else while he's still married.
Damn.
Married somebody else. And then
the hot booty.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Oh, and then they lived in Wilmette, Illinois, which is not too far from here. So they stayed in Wilmette. So he would travel from Wilmette to Chicago, the south side of Chicago, back and forth. Then he ended up, let me see if I can find it.
You said what his zodiac was already, sis?
A Taurus.
Oh, the Taurus. Oh, okay.
He's a Taurus, yes. Then he marries another person at the same time. He's married to 2 other women at the same time.
Wow.
Had these women sign over their property to him. Yeah. Some of them went missing. There was a pair of sisters. And they were both in love with him because he was so charismatic. He knew how to talk to people. He knew how to, maneuver his way in conversations and stuff like that. Okay, so once
some sisters wanted that.
Once he's obtained the pharmacy, he's got the pharmacy. There's a plot of land across the street from there because he heard that they were bringing the Chicago World's Fair over. Now, the Columbian Exposition is the celebration. It was, at that time, it was the 400th year of the celebration of when Columbus discovered, quotation.
Yeah, when he took, when he came up over here and took some shit that didn't belong to him.
When he came over here trying to be nosy.
Right, being nosy.
What are you nosy for, colonizer?
Yes. So let me see. Okay, so he purchased the drugstore across, but he purchased the empty lot across the drugstore in 1887. It was a 2-story mixed building with apartments, retail spaces, and a new drugstore in the bottom. So he was the architect. He made the plans out. What he would do, he would hire a construction crew to build so much. After a while, he would fire them, hire a whole new crew, show them specific plans, and then they would do whatever work, fire them, and he would do this until the building was almost complete. So
It was
to
a
come to
whole
find out,
maze.
right. So the exposition, we'll say the World's Fair because we don't want to put that name out there.
Right.
1887 was the construction. In 1893 was the World's Fair. Let me make sure, just to make sure.
That is crazy.
Yes.
He kept firing people because it sounded like he didn't want them to. He didn't want the other people to know. He wanted to keep throwing people off. Yeah, like he wanted to be the only one to know what those floor plans were.
That he made rooms with no doors. He would make doors with no rooms.
It's like an occult.
He would make booby traps where the floor up under you would fall, like trap doors. He had a gas line running into the room that he would control. So I believe he has secret passages in between these rooms. So he would let's say since the exposition started in 1893. So what he would do is he would go to the exposition, the fair, and he would start telling people, look, I have a hotel, World's Fair Hotel over here on 63rd and Jackson. And it's much cheaper than the Congress, because at the time, the Congress was the biggest hotel in Chicago.
Yeah.
They housed people from the World's Fair. Now, people would come from overseas just for this, for the fair, just for the fair. The fair ran from May to October of 1893. So he will go to this park, to the park, because it's actual park, Jackson Park. And he would go around and tell people about his hotel because it was cheaper. So they would go, and it would be mostly women. So people would say that a lot of women would go into this hotel, but they would never come back out. So, yeah, crazy, right?
So sad.
So then let me fast forward. So he did this for some time until the end of the fair. He had a few mistresses on the side, on top of him being married.
Hey, he was a player.
Yes, because women would fall in love with him because he was so charismatic. He was just like, they would be so drawn to him. He ended up killing them, all of them. In this hotel, he had a chute that he can throw the bodies into the chute and then go straight into the basement, where he had the exam table, like that steel table.
Yeah.
He had a kill. What is that? Kill where you burn, like it's like a fireplace, pretty much.
You kill. Yeah.
Yeah. So he had that in the basement. Supposedly, what he would do is these women that he would kill, he would clean the bones off and sell them to medical schools and say that this is a cadaver, this is a body that wasn't claimed by their family, whatever. So he would get money off of these skeletons, and the schools would not question anything. So he let's see. So yeah, he ended up killing his girlfriend and her daughter on Christmas Eve. There's another one that another lady that worked in his building was a secretary. She also disappeared. So his methods of killing were suffocation, or overdose of chloroform, overexposure to lighting gas fumes, trapped in airless vaults, or sometimes he was starved or burned them, because they said that he had a stretching table, like a medieval torturing table.
Mm-hmm.
So he would take them down there and torture them.
Oh.
He was working at a chemical bank building on Dearborn Street, where he became friends with this guy named Benjamin Peitzel, who was a carpenter. And that's when he helped him invent the coal bin that he invented to help him, burn bodies. Then after that, he would go on to different states. He ended up going to Boston to meet this woman named Minnie Williams in 1893. Had her transfer the deed to her property under the name of Alexander Bond, which was him. He ended up killing her and her sister.
Wow.
Then he was, he tried to burn the building, they dubbed it the murder castle once, all that stuff went on. He ended up trying to burn the building, but it didn't burn. So the police was going after him for insurance for the arson, because he was trying to claim insurance money on the building. So he left Chicago in 1894, went to Fort Worth, Texas, where he met those two sisters. Then he was actually arrested in St. Louis, Missouri, because he went and stole some horses from one state, sold them in another state. And that's where he got arrested. He got arrested for that. While he was in jail, there was a convicted outlaw and said that he would concoct a plan to swindle an insurance company out of $10,000 to take out a policy for him and fake his death. And he was like, yo, I'll give you $500 in commission. And I'll help you get a lawyer and all that stuff to get you out of here. Well, that never went down. The guy got upset, told the police about him, what he was doing. And by this time, remember his friend Peitzel, the one that he met at the bank?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Peitzel was married and had children. So what he ended up doing, he was like, hey, Peitzel, let's do this insurance shit and we'll fake your death. And I'll give you half and I'll take half, and you and your wife can go off and go live another life in another state, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he ended up killing the friends.
Don't tell me he went and took his girl.
Convinced the wife to let me help you take your 3 kids because your husband's waiting for you over here. All the meanwhile, he's dead. Let me take some of your kids. Let me take your 3 kids. You can stay with the baby. I'll take the 3 kids. So it's 2 girls and 1 boy. Took them across the country. Ended up stuffing, and I hate saying this because it's kids, stuffing the 2 girls in a trunk. One of those, back then they used to travel with the trunks.
Right.
He rigged it so that it had a gas line going in the trunk. He killed the 2 girls like that.
Oh my God.
The boy, he took the boy, he found a house that he rented out in Indianapolis. Took the boy and killed him and put him in the stove and tried to burn him. Set him on fire to get rid of the evidence. All the while, he's still in communication with the wife, telling her, yeah, your kids are good, whatever, good, we'll meet up. No. There was investigators following him because the one in jail told him, hey, he schemed me out of $500. So he actually got arrested for the killing of Peitzel, his business partner. He got arrested for that. He confessed to 27 murders, but it's said that he has killed over 200 people. And there's a documentary on Netflix called American Ripper, where the great-great-grandson of H.H. Holmes, who happens to be, I think, in the CIA, says, I want to know what's going on. I want to know the true story of my great-great-grandfather. So him and another partner, they did a timeline. They believe that he was Jack the Ripper because there's both documentation. You know, you had just write the name. He could give any name he wanted to because back then they didn't have no IDs, no anything like that. So he had lots of aliases, at least up to 20, 30 names that he would use. Like this man was like Jack, like he had a lot of names. So he used one of his aliases to get on this boat. He actually got on the boat just around the time that the Jack the Ripper killings were happening in 1888. And it was just a few months or that within that year, because then he ended up coming back to Chicago, and that's when the castle happened. So, you know, he was killing people here and there, and especially Jack the Ripper, where would he do it? He would do it in secluded places. Supposedly they said that it was a doctor that was seeking revenge, but just the way that these women were killed in a way that only someone who would know of a human anatomy. Mm-hmm. So I guess they were closing in on him, and that they don't have any, I don't think they have any evidence of him coming back. But that's all in American Ripper. It's a series where they even end up trying to dig up his grave because they felt that he wasn't, because he was such a swindler that they were thinking that he probably paid somebody that looked like him to be executed, because he was hung in May 7th. And so he was asked to be buried 10 feet deep with concrete on top because he didn't want grave robbers to come in and take his body.
Wow. So
they actually did dig him up, and they did DNA on him, and it was his actual body, because you know they had his great-great-grandson was there. So
right.
Yeah. So I think the building, the murder castle, stood until 1936. It was actually burned down. Two people committed arson in there, and it was torn down. And what sits on there today?
A bank.
It's the post office.
Oh, it's a post office? I thought it was a bank. No. I was like, a bank.
It's the post office.
Dang.
The original basement is still there. People have heard and felt things in that basement. I actually took a Devil in the White City tour. My husband, Manny, wanted to go for the architecture. I wanted to go for H.H. Holmes. Mm-hmm. So they actually took us to the post office, and the tour guy said, if you want to go inside and just check out the basement, you can ask them real nicely. That's so funny because me and my husband looked at each other like, we can get in there easy because we're postal workers. All we got to do is just show our ID, and you know we can go in there. But we still haven't gone in there. But
oh my gosh,
this dude was something else.
He was a character.
You want to see what he looks like?
What did he look like? Pinche viejo.
Pinche viejo.
He was not even 40 when he died. He did all this in his 30s.
Wow, he was young doing that crazy stuff.
So they did witnesses from the Jack the Ripper, when they would do this, the description for the sketch artist. Mm-hmm. They had somebody come and do an actual sketch of from the descriptions that the witnesses had said. And when they took his picture and they put the sketch over his picture, it was crazy. It was like so much similarities.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's do this. Yeah. Let me get some. Hold on. Wait. Where's my bitch? Be gone. Bitch, please. Be gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there was one. It was the year that I was pregnant with my last son. They have haunted houses in Rosemont. And there was one called Screams in the Park, and they're really good. It's like you literally have to go in the basement of the parking garage.
Yeah.
And that year was inspired by H.H. Holmes. And I could not go in because I was pregnant. And I was so upset because Manny said that there was a room that they went in and they could not find the door to get out. They could not find, they had booby trapped there like it was the hotel. And you know, for all you American Horror Story fans out there, the season with the hotel, that's actually based off of H.H. Holmes' Murder Castle Hotel. You notice a lot of those rooms have booby traps and people peeking through and stuff like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know what? American Horror Story also did like for the American for the Night Stalker too. I forgot which series it was, but when I read it, I said, "Oh, that was that season." I didn't know it was like based upon him. You know what I mean?
H.H. Holmes.
Wow,
It was
interesting.
something else.
Something else. Wow.
Let's see.
It's interesting.
Go ahead to the comments. Oh, Desert Siren asked if we've ever seen The Lovely Bones. Yes, it is a sad movie.
I think I said so yes.
Yeah, it is sad.
It is sad.
I never seen it. I'm gonna have to look at that.
Isn't that the one with Mark Wahlberg?
I don't know. I don't know names. I just know. I've seen it. It was with the little girl that was killed by like
her ghost is coming back
by like a pervy man. Yeah.
Yes.
And he just built like this whole. He built like this whole like underground like clubhouse that he brought her down into. And yeah, it was really sad. Let's see. Desert Siren said that her grandbaby's chart was done 30 minutes after his birth. Gotta love your witchy family.
That's right.
They were on it. I looked up what Steven, that police officer, what his zodiac was. So he's a Libra.
Oh, interesting.
And then I looked up Dahmer's, and Dahmer's is a Gemini.
Okay.
It's just so crazy because like my guess was Gemini for being the number one. I didn't know Dahmer's just until when that discussion came up. I was like, let me go find out. And then Steven, he's a Libra just like me. So yeah, it's crazy. It's weird like how you're drawn to certain, I mean, we're drawn to energies. So it's like when you think about that, it's like, oh, that's kind of weird. Let's see. Stacy said my dog gets a air spanking when she doesn't come in the house. It gets the job done.
That's funny.
It's funny.
Desert Siren said I use the scary mom voice with my pets. I give the look.
The look.
I give the look and I go 1, 2. I think my eyes get wider as I go. Like 3.
You know what it is that my husband, like, he'll do like a voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And boom, they'll get off. Like they'll stop fucking around, you know what I mean? But me, they'll turn around and look at me and be like, bitch, please. So
Yeah.
I gotta get that bitch please out and whoop it.
Right.
And then I feel so bad. I be like, oh, come on, baby, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to, but you don't No, I love my babies.
Koya said, Koya said there have been studies that show that a head injury in the frontal lobe can cause people to change. Yes, that's true.
Yeah, especially in
Yeah.
That's true.
football players. A lot of
Yeah,
football
football
players.
players.
Oh,
There was
yeah.
that movie. What was that movie called? Did y'all see that movie
Something
with
blue,
Will
no?
Smith?
Oh, with Will Smith, I didn't see that
Is
one,
it
but like,
I don't know.
Concussion? Is it called
oh yeah, it
Concussion?
is concussion, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
but then you see like Aaron Hernandez, like
Mm-hmm.
that dude, man.
Yeah.
He's got hit.
Mm-hmm.
He had a lot of potential.
A lot.
Let's see. Stacy
Yep.
said maybe that's why I'm crazy. My sister hit with a bat in the forehead. LOL. I'm not crazy. No, I'm not crazy. She
Damn.
said. Yeah. Yeah, the brain is a very complex organ, Desert Siren said.
Very.
It is.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Is that it? Oh no. I don't know why my mouse got stuck. Yeah. Desert Siren said DNA contributes, environment contributes, and mental status. There's not
Mm-hmm.
one way to determine who is or who can be a killer.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. I believe in that too.
And then like a lot of people sometimes just snap. Like they might not
Yeah.
have ever even gotten like a parking ticket, let alone, you know what I'm saying? Some people can snap. Like
Some people can. You don't know. You don't know the mental
mm,
state sometimes of people. You know what? It reminds me sometimes as well, like when certain children get bullied and then they come back with vengeance. They come back, you know,
mm-hmm.
wanting to shoot up the school and shit like that. You know what I mean? Because it's like you don't know where a person's mind space is at, and then you have things that might trigger, you know, these type of abilities for people to do, you know, and so yeah, I figure like those all play a role.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're also talking about bullying too.
Yeah, see?
Yeah. I think that does.
Yeah.
That hurts.
I think that plays a factor in it too, you know what I mean, when it comes down to things like that, you know?
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Johnny Dragon is here. I'm sorry, you guys. There's like conversating going on, so
That's
I'm like
good.
making sure it's good. It's good. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just making sure that we didn't miss anything. So I'm just kind of
That's
scrolling
good.
through. Oh, here we go. Stacy said, "Why is it a lot of serial killers were ladies, men? It's strange." Yeah, ladies, men.
Mm-hmm.
That charming thing, like, you know,
It is.
sometimes it's like, you know, like that's what I'm saying. I'm pretty charming. I can relate.
Yeah.
uh, let's see. I think too, I think because it makes I I feel like men who are charming are also can, you know, kind of pick out like which woman is more like fragile or
Yeah.
more gullible,
Mhm.
you know, based
That's what
on,
makes them charming.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of what makes them charming to people that are, you know, kind of needing, you know, especially like a lonely woman, you know, a good looking guy like
Yeah.
H.H. Holmes. He wasn't ugly. um
Right.
you know, comes walking up and like, hey, can I buy you a drink, blah blah blah, you know.
He's
Mm-hmm.
very smart, so
He was
he
very
already
smart.
knew how to.
The conversation had to have been,
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
Blow
Um,
you off your fucking feet, and you're just like, oh. And pendeja, he's a serial killer.
right.
mm-hmm.
that's why. That's why, as women, um, for any partner, it's like sometimes you gotta look at them like this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Bitch,
Yeah,
what
give
you
him that.
capable of?
Yep.
You gotta give them that,
That little stank
what
eye.
are you
Yo.
capable of?
God,
Because
God, look, don't
I
look
think
at
about
them, look into them.
Yep.
Oh my
And
God.
yes, yes, please.
Yep. Let's see.
Sometimes you
Dark
don't
Beauty
know.
said, "I like to look into the minds of people who do evil stuff in the mundane world and spiritual world. I like to know these things so I know how to protect myself and others from these entities."
Absolutely. Hmm. I agree.
Uh, Stacy said there are some theories that H. Holmes is Jack the Ripper, but of course, that's just a
the
theory.
theories, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yes. Let's see. Dark Beauty said, I don't think people realize how big bullying is. Some people don't think bullying is a horrible deal, but bullying really is horrible. Oh yeah.
It
Yeah,
is.
bullying is not okay. Um, definitely not. Let's see. Yeah, so we're already at 7 o'clock.
Oh my God.
Yeah, time flew.
This was an interesting topic.
It was. It was a
Yeah.
very interesting topic. Yeah, we picked out a good one. I'm glad that we're doing it. Like this whole July has just been like our spooky month. Like our
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a spooky month. So I really like the choices that we picked for our shows. Um do you want to go ahead, Chimo, do you want to go ahead and share what show we're going to be having next Thursday?
Next Thursday, our show. Let's see. Pinche July. I can't believe you.
Mhm.
My goodness. So, our next show, we'll be talking about UFOs.
Mhm.
Let's talk
UFOs.
about UFOs. With these
Yes.
UFOs, um, and pretty much these dimensions that these, Earth has, with these UFOs, and how many people out here believe in that? How many
Mhm.
people out here experience something strange and weird in the sky where you're just like, the fuck was that?
Mhm. Yeah.
So we're gonna tap into that one. That is gonna be a really good one. So you definitely want to get into that. If you have any stories of maybe something you've seen strange in the sky, hell, if you want to open up and talk about, have you been
Abducted.
abducted?
Mhm.
Some people want to say it, some people don't. Some people fear it, and some people want to be open about it. But we cannot be the only species in this universe that we're in, So we're going to tap into UFO and the different dimensions that tend to happen with these
Yes.
UFOs. So,
The extraterrestrials.
yes, that's right.
That's exciting.
So stay tuned. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
so
going to be
I'm
fun.
I'm excited for next Thursday. Is there anything else that you guys would like to leave off with in regards to our discussion today about serial killers and the occult?
Don't be
Don't date them.
Don't date them.
yeah, don't date one.
Oh my
Check their
goodness.
birth charts.
Yes. Be careful with dating, like online dating. Be really
Yeah,
careful
yes.
for
Yeah.
that because
Yeah,
you
no,
know
for
a
real.
lot of
You
people
have
on
to.
online dating get targeted. Um,
Mm-hmm.
let's see. Yeah, don't date them. I agree.
And you know what? Don't be afraid to ask, like, what's your zodiac? When were you
Mm-hmm.
born? Like, especially if it's someone who, like, has no knowledge of what
Mm-hmm.
the information you're trying to get. But get it because, even if it's somewhere where you're like, oh, he's so amazing, his family's so amazing, always know every family has a dark secret. Every
Mm-hmm.
family has a secret in their
Yes.
lineage line. So don't be afraid to explore information. You know, get to
Mm-hmm.
know who you're talking to, your partners, or even friendships as well. Um, but definitely look at signs, and if your heart is telling you, this one right here is a weird, interesting one, then believe it and feel it.
um,
and do your research on a person, and
yeah.
then be your own discernment, and you know but be safe out there, because sometimes, like, again, you never know who these type of serial killers
Mm-hmm.
are. They're everywhere, so just be very careful and lock your doors and your
Yeah,
motherfucking windows.
Yeah.
your keys ready in your hand.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
fuck I'm talking about.
Koya said it good. She said be rude and stay alive.
There
Yeah,
you go.
because
There you go.
sometimes they'll ask you a lot of questions, and sometimes people are like, well, if they're asking me, then like they kind of feel like they have to answer questions like
You know
where they
what?
work,
I
where
was
they live, who they live with, and what
asked
time
the
they
same way. Ask them the same fucking
yeah,
shit.
ask
The
them the
same
same
thing.
thing. Yeah, the
Don't be
same thing.
afraid to be your own PI. Google
That's
that shit.
right.
Google that name.
Mhm.
Look around. Look who their friends are.
Hmm.
If that
Show
shit
up
don't
late
look
like
right,
me. Show up late like me because then everybody's surprised when you pop up and nobody knew you were coming, so they couldn't prepare for your ass.
there you go.
And also too, if you're gonna date people, I mean, take your own car, meet them there, meet them
Yes.
somewhere in a
Yes.
public place,
Mhm.
and don't tell them what you're wearing, and just walk up in there and see. Let
Okay.
let the bartender know. I was a bartender for 7 years. Let the bartender know, hey, I'm going on a date with this guy. Just to let them know, because I looked out for plenty of women. When
Yep.
I was a bartender, all you had to do was
Yeah.
tell me like, hey, I don't know this person. I'm having a drink with them. If you see anything, could you please let me know? No
Mm.
problem.
Mhm. Yep.
Because I would pick up on that if a guy's trying to get you stupid drunk, where you're not gonna be capable to say no. Then
Mhm.
I'm gonna slow you down, be like, hey, I think you kind of already had enough. Let your bartender know, let your waitress know, like let your
Absolutely.
I
friends
think they
know.
sell stuff now. I think they call it the condom cup or the cup
Uh-huh.
condom, where it's like a piece of plastic with like elastic that goes over your cup just enough for a straw to go in, because
Uh-huh.
a lot
Mm.
of these bars is where the people, predators, I'll call them,
Right.
slip
Yeah.
something into the drinks, where, keep your drinks
Mhm.
covered, keep them close, don't leave them behind.
Mm.
Everything's opening up now, so people are going to go
Yeah.
out. So just be careful.
And then they kind of forgot how to be around other people, so
Yeah,
then you're
they,
thinking
yeah.
this dude's being charming by saying, oh, let me go get you a drink. All it takes is a
Mhm.
second from the bar to your
Mm.
table to
And that's
bring you
it.
that drink, that to drop something in it,
Y te
so
chingaste.
get your ass up, go get your own drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
um
Yes.
yeah, so there's definitely, be safe, be careful, because
Mhm.
like we said, all of these serial killers, the victims of these serial killers had trusted them in some way.
Yeah.
There was some sort of trust that was there, that was, that, or something, they were believable in some way. So you just want to make sure that you're not being, just be safe. Don't be too trusting. Make sure you
Mhm.
ask questions, and also too, you can also let your friends know where you're going to be at. License plates, share your location on Snapchat.
Yes.
There's ways that you can prevent, like, especially now that we have like technology that we have. There's definitely ways that you can be safer.
Yep.
So with all that being said, Sister Cass, where can we find you? Or are you still are
No,
you
I'm gonna take a break from Reflection Friday because
okay?
I am under construction. So
Yeah.
I know that's right.
yeah, so I will be I will accept private readings. So if you want to do like a Reflection Friday type reading or needing a reflection type reading, I'll be able to do it. I just won't be able to do it live.
Mm,
Yeah. So if anybody needs a Cassie reading, you can reach out to me.
cool.
Private message anywhere.
And you guys can find me on Mondays at House of Spiritual Vibes LLC on Facebook at T4C. All them letters, it gets confusing. Like
Yeah.
shit, I got so many letters. I will be there on Mondays. This last Monday, you guys had like a different scenery because I am in the process of moving. So that being said, I'm going to try to get on to Facebook at the time that I'm supposed to. But again, like the I might be in a different scenery. We'll see what's up. You're gonna be just as surprised as I am. So I will see you guys there on Monday at House of Spiritual Vibes LLC on Facebook for T4C. And I do this every Monday. I have a suggested question for every Monday session. So if you guys would like to tune in and would like to join me there, you guys can make sure you like and follow at House of Spiritual Vibes LLC on Facebook. And we have an event coming up
Yes.
on the 25th. So our events are held at Comfort Suites in Schiller Park, and it's going to be on the 25th from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. I have so far about another 25 vendors, and Chimo is going to be there, and Sister.
Maybe.
Okay, Alex. Yeah. Chima's gonna be there. So
Sister
that's
Cassis.
exciting. Yeah, and then we're going dry cast in by her ankles. Yes. So yeah, that is it then. I don't know.
Patreon.
Oh, Patreon. Yes, Patreon. Sister Chimu,
Patreon.
Patreon.
So join us for our sip and spell with the Latina Sanderson sisters and our Patreon. The Patreon is dope. It's full of fun. We do have 3 tiers in our Patreon, and with the Patreon, you're gonna do well. Tier 1 pretty much consists of one-on-one time with each of us. Excuse me. Where you'll be able to see, what we do on our downtime, or, just the little things that we like to share that we don't share here for sure. So we do get a little bit more personal on Patreon and tier 1. We do have also tier 2, which is tier 2 is our old workshops from 2020. Those are amazing. You don't want to miss out on that one. And then we also have our tier 3, where we do a lot of the majority, all of our sip and spells are on tier 3. We are doing our July sip and spell. That's going to be so much fun. We are constructing a pillow to continue with the Yoni magic. So if you're still interested, you can definitely sign up for that. And again, we are on Patreon, the Latina Sanderson Sisters Sip and Spell. So make sure you definitely check that out.
Our workshop is
Also,
this Sunday coming up.
Yeah, it is this Sunday coming up. And we do have our workshop posted for August. And that's going to be so much fun. We are utilizing the magic of wind to create the manifestations that we want. And I'm going to put it there like that. So you don't want to miss out on that one, because that one is fun. Our workshops are not, we're judgment free. We have a lot of fun. We do give out a lot of our knowledge and things like that on how we work our magic separately. And you will also find separate videos once in a while of us doing our own little magic in tier 3 as well. So that is a magical room, is what I like to call it. In tier 3. So you definitely want to check that out. We also have a website where you can, or excuse me, an email where you can email us any questions, topic suggestions, maybe some challenges that you want us to do here at House of Spiritual Vibes Radio. And that email address where you can send all your questions, suggestions, and things like that. It'll be all capital letters, and that is HOSVR3@gmail.com.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, Timo has opened up her page on Facebook, you guys. So check out Unearthly Wisdom. Yes. I'm finally out there, you guys. I'm finally out there.
She's out here.
Oh man, I was holding on to that page for dear life, and I said, "For what?
For what? Yeah.
For what?
Yeah.
So you could definitely, I'm on Facebook as Unearthly Wisdom, so you could definitely look it up, give a like, make sure you follow. You're just gonna look at me grow, and we're gonna grow together. I will be having products there for everyone. Check it out. You know, I'll be posting a lot more from there as well. So yeah, what else? Oh, guess what, you guys?
Nina.
Nina, so
what?
She has obtained the space.
We need to congratulate her on her space.
Yeah.
Taking donations. There's still so much to do for her. Yes.
Thank you.
So proud of you. So where can they find for donations for your botanica?
So you guys can send, I know, you guys can send your contributions. I am accepting contributions, any contribution, big or small, because you guys, literally every dollar counts for startup costs when it comes to opening a brick and mortar shop. So I'm talking about permits, insurance, rent, security deposit, cash register, all those things that it goes into having a business. You know, there's permits and stuff like that. So I could really use you guys' help. I could really, I would really appreciate, sorry, you guys. I would really appreciate any contribution that you guys can send me. You guys can find all that information on Facebook at House of Spiritual Vibes LLC. That link is there, but you guys can also feel free to send contributions through my Zelle. My Zelle is 773-704-7076. If you guys didn't get that number, you can always replay the video. You can also send me a Venmo. Venmo is Nina Soul 13. And you guys can also send me a Cash App, which is Spiritual Vibes 13. And again, any donation amount is greatly appreciated. My new address for the business, if you guys want to write it down, my new address is 923 Michigan Avenue here in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. And that is going to be the new House of Spiritual Vibes Botanica. So I just got the spot yesterday. I did the signing yesterday. Yeah, so I'm excited to open up, and I will definitely let everybody know when the grand opening is. The awesome part is that if you guys are coming from a distance, there is actually an Airbnb upstairs from the shop, so you guys can actually stay in a comfortable 2-bedroom apartment of your own space up there. What you doing, sis? What's that? I got all I'm like a squirrel. Like, what's that?
I'm making little candles.
Oh, they're pretty. They are so. I'm sorry, you guys. Jesus,
I love that.
That's so pretty.
I got some shine. That's how we charge over here, baby.
That's how we charge over here. Yes. Yes. All right, then you guys.
Just to let y'all know, though, if y'all think that y'all gonna do that Airbnb on her grand opening, it's already taken by me and Kat.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I would love that for you guys to come out here. Yes. I'm so excited, you guys. It's gonna
I'm
be
so
such
excited
a
for
great
you.
place. It really gives me like old shop vibes. Like it
Nice.
literally gives me like that old, like that Osceola. Like not the one
Yeah,
on Irving, but the
the
one
one
on
on the side
Osceola.
street.
The
Yep.
one on the
Yeah.
side street. Like it literally gives me those vibes only bigger. It has the
Nice.
size of the last shop, but the vibe of the first one. So it's almost like
Beautiful.
those two like had like oh,
A baby.
A
this is a
baby.
lesbian.
It ain't like this no more. It's like
It ain't like this no more. It's like this. It's like these two came together and had a baby, and that
Yes.
baby is now House of Spiritual Vibes Botanica. Oh my god.
I love
added
it.
the numbers to the address and it came out to 14. And when you, of course, split that, it's 7.
Look at that.
Mm,
Yeah,
And I signed
Beautiful.
yesterday, which was
7-7.
7. Yeah,
Mm.
7-7-21, which is 21 is Elegua's number. So
Mm.
yeah, lots of Yamaya up in there. And then also
Mhm.
I have a shop phone number. So everybody can stop calling my cell phone. Isn't that awesome? Everybody
cell
can
phone
stop.
alone.
Yeah, leave my cell phone alone. So I'll also be sharing that information as well. So
Dope.
yeah, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate. I feel like I'm only as strong as I am because of the people that support me and like literally give me like that push and that shove, and it's
Mm.
like so I appreciate literally everybody I've come in connection with and I've come in contact with, because y'all motivate me, and I don't want to start crying like a little B word on this show. So
Oh.
so don't make me do it. Leave me alone, because I cry ugly. I cry
Do
like
it.
I smile big and I cry big. So.
Ah. That's
Oh
cute.
my god. All right. So that is it, you guys. Thank you for making me blush tonight.
You're welcome.
Yes, and thank you guys so much for your continued love and support. We'll see you guys next Thursday for some extraterrestrial UFO witchy chit chat talk with the Latina Sanderson sisters at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time here at House of Spiritual Vibes. I was gonna keep going, but I ran out.
In Mercury retrograde post shadow.
Yeah, upon shadow at a degree of 93.
New moon coming up. Shout out to the new moon coming
Shout
up.
out to shout out to all the baby mamas.
Baby mamas.
And their baby mamas.
Absolutely. That's
All
right.
right, you guys, that's it. We done. That's it.
We're done.
Try not to let y'all go, but we gotta go.
Yeah, gotta go.
All right, you guys, we'll see you guys next Thursday. Divine blessings to you today, tomorrow, and always. Ache.
Amen.
Night, guys.